Welcome back, students. I am Karuna. As a continuation of the previous class, so I'll be talking about the file inclusion directives as a second type of the preprocessor directives. So before we proceed, you already know we have dealt with the macro substitution method. As a continuation of that, we'll deal with the file inclusion directives. Here, we are going to include the supporting files which are going to help the compiler to do the further processing. For example, if I go ahead with #include followed by the file name here, so you can add any kind of files in case of the file name here. For example, stdio.h, conio.h, math.h, mathlib.h and so on. Along with that, people can also include the user-defined files also, something like test.c, syntax.c. So those are the files that are written by the end users there. So #include, our file inclusion directives are helping us to include the different files that supports to execute our program by the compiler there. So in this case, so we'll go ahead with, as this is a part of the first year course, will not go in depth or will not go and dig much depth of this file inclusion directives. We'll look as an overview of the file inclusion directive here. So here in this case, we'll try to talk about the header files that we people can have before we proceed with the writing the programs here. So we need to know variety of header files that are available, so that we need to include, so before we proceed with writing the program. So if you look at this #include followed by the file name here I am talking about the header file supported by the C language, stdio.h, which supports the input-output statements that are used inside the C language. So similar to that, you people can add the math.h, which supports the mathematical calculations or the functions that are supported by the C. As an example, sine of a particular angle, maybe the square root of a number, something like that. Okay, so stdlib.h, which supports the exiting in between from the program, exit 0, it supports exit 0, okay, and so on. So with this, so we can talk about, or we can proceed with a simple example. So here, let's take #include stdio.h. Inside the main, we have written the printf statement. This program illustrates the use of the #include directives. To type, to display anything on the screen, we need to have this file that has to be included. If you don't include this, if you just run this program, then it's going to throw us an error. The supporting header file is missing there. So file inclusion directives matters a lot for the compiler to process some of the statements that are part of the header files there. Then moving to the last processor directives as a compiler control directives. Okay, as we have mentioned, so compiler control directives are the conditional ones. And before we talk about the conditional or the compiler control directives, so I would like to say, so these statements can be used as a part of the program, that is the main program also, or these can be defined before the main program also. Okay, this is a good feature that is a part of the C language over here. So I'll try to illustrate both the examples which supports the conditions can be, are these compiler control directives which can be written before the before the program as a part of the preprocessor directives, or it can be a part of the program also. So let's go ahead with that. So before we talk about, or go ahead with the example of this variety of compiler control directives that are available in C are, if this may be a simple if, you may proceed with what we call it as the else if also, or the simple if else also, or else if ladder also, and this is true for the compiler our C language here. So if you look at this, the condition that we are going to write here, which may be an expression there, which is going to evaluate that particular constant there. And you can have the multiple statement inside the statement block there. And if you go ahead with this, so else if you can go ahead with, you can write the else if ladder, or you can just go ahead with the simple else as the part of this if condition there. Multiple else if directives are also allowed there, and you can go ahead with the only simple if followed by, that is if and followed by else and the end statement. In our program or in this compiler controller directives, please remember, if you are using if statement, simple if statement, it must end with the end statement. If you are going ahead with if and followed by else, then it must be also end with the end if statement. If you are going ahead with the else if ladder, then you can go ahead with the multiple else ifs in between, but the last statement must be else followed by the end if there. So let's go ahead with the simple example. So in this example, I am trying to place the compiler control directives within the program there. So I have defined the normal file inclusion over here, then I have defined what we call it as the macro substitution here, then followed by I have multiple compiler directives found inside the main program here. I am checking for one simple condition there, if not defined a macro x. If the x value is not defined, a macro for x is not defined. So if it is true, then it's going to write x not defined there. Else, if it is not true, if x value is already defined there, then it is going to check whether that x value is less than 10, then it's going to print what we call it as x is less than 12. Simple example that I am trying to quote how this compiler directives can be used inside the program there. So let's go ahead with the output of this program. I am not defining the x value. Okay, so this is what I am wanted to justify my case here. If not defined x, in this case the macro value is not defined for the x here. So in this case this is true. If not defined x, okay, x value is not defined. So according to that, it is going to print x not defined. So I am not going ahead with any else part of this, because it is very much similar to that of else if condition that we are studied in the C language. So I am expecting output as x not defined. So let's go ahead with the one more step here. I am going to define a macro for the x here. So let me define that. Define x as 9. Then I am going to go ahead with this if not defined x, but x is defined already here, so it's false here. That's why I am going to else part, and here I am checking whether the x value, and I know that the x value is 9 here. 9 will be substituted for this x, and 9 is less than 10, and it is going to print x is less than 12. Okay, so now my expectation is x is less than 12. This is what we people are expecting, okay, from this what we call it as the macro compiler controlled directives. And I said, so these can be a part of the program also, these can be used before the main function also, as a part of the preprocessor directives also. So let's look into another example where I have used it as a part of the preprocessor directives. Now this is hash include, okay, so hash include stdio.h, so I have written hash if defined USD. It's a simple variable called as USD if USD is defined, and I don't have anything that is defined for USD here right now, okay, but I'm checking for a condition if defined, okay, for the value for the USD. If it is true, in this case it is right now, it is not true, then it's going to say, or it is going to go ahead with the else part. Else if I'm checking whether euro is defined or what. Here also euro is also not defined. So in this case this is also false, then I'm going ahead with the else part. Because USD is also not defined, euro is also not defined, that's why I am going to the else part of this. Then it's going to write hash define the currency value as 1, and it's going to print the same value, or it is going to substitute this currency value as 1 whenever this part is used inside the main program. Let's go ahead with the main program here. Int rupee is equal to 10 into currency value. So what should be the currency value? It purely depends on the USD or euro value here. If USD is defined, it's going to take 60. If Euro is defined, then it's going to take 80 there. If both are not defined, it's going to take it as 1. In this case, both are not defined, it's going to take its value, that is currency value, as 1, and I am going to get the output as rupee, output for the rupee as 10 here. So let's go ahead with the same thing. So I am going to get the output as 1. So let's define the value for USD and check the output here. Okay, so now let's go ahead with the USD definition. So hash define USD 1. So I am defining USD as 1. So here USD is defined. Yes, it is defined. If it is true, then what is the currency value? Currency value is 60. So this 60 value will be substituted for this currency value here. Okay, then it is multiplied with 10 and rupee value will be 10 into 60. I am going to get it as 600 for this. Okay, so let's define, instead of defining USD, let's define what we call it as the euro value. Okay, so if I define euro value, okay, euro value as something like 1 there, or maybe 2, anything is true for it. Okay, if I define euro as 1 there, then I have not defined, instead of USD, if I defined it as euro as 1 here, then it is false here, then it is checking for the euro. Euro is 1, it is true, and it is going to substitute this currency value as 80, and this 80 will be placed inside the currency value here. So 80 into 10 is going to be the part of the R, is going to be placed inside the rupee. So therefore, if USD is not defined, but euro is defined, then the output is 800. So that's what is the meaning of it. Okay, so this is end of the preprocessor directives. Thank you for listening the preprocessor directives. Thank you.